Hey guys, it's your host, MD Lovelace, coming to you live from Graceland. You're watching the Scotty Sports Show. Welcome back to another episode of the Scotty Sports Show. I'm your host, MD Lovelace.
Jeff Price.
Jeff, Victory Tuesday.
Victory Tuesday. The first quarter scared me a bit, but after that they kind of clicked on all cylinders there, and Aaron Jones kind of stole the show.
Yeah, can we pay that guy already?
Yeah, no kidding.
How many yards and touchdowns can that man have in 2 games? And we haven't seen him yet. Jamal Williams,
headline.
Yeah, Jamal Williams have another good game for himself. I mean, a 3-headed monster as a backfield. You can only wish for it, but somehow you have to pay all 3 guys after the season. So will be a definite interesting scenario for sure.
Definitely.
Packer defense kind of stepping up towards the second half. Chain and Sullivan coming up with a big pick 6. Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, I guess, as a DB. It was kind of ugly, but we'll give it to him nonetheless.
That was kind of interesting to see that develop, because you could see him reading that play and he knew he was going to get it. Like, it was.
I mean, these guys spend hours and hours on film, especially now with being kind of isolated a little bit more. Even with the visiting teams, the Lions were staying in Green Bay. As many of our listeners know, the visiting team has always been predominantly in the Appleton area. And obviously with COVID and all the other factors, you find a lot more teams staying locally here in Green Bay. Word is that the Lions chose to isolate to their rooms, virtual meetings only. So it's really a big, big difference compared to, years of the past. We have a special guest coming up here momentarily, Perry Kemp, who can definitely tell us more about his road experiences. But going back to the game and the stat line today, Packers obviously a 42-21 victor at home versus the Detroit Lions. Jeff, it was a weird vibe driving around Green Bay last night and today.
Yeah, definitely.
Was not
just stadium. Oh.
Yeah, it was weird to only see nothing but mainly cop cars and worker vehicles, and then obviously the players entering. It was definitely a weird vibe. Seeing the sponsorship opportunities there, obviously on the business side of things for the Packers. Weird seeing, your Kemp's ice cream and your Bell and Health being advertised right in the end zones within the first 6 rows. So, hey, if you're an advertiser, now's the time to advertise, because you'll definitely see your logo in the first 2 games at least.
Yeah, definitely.
We were looking for the numbers there. Aaron Jones, 18 for 168, 9.3 yards a carry for 2 touchdowns. They have Jamal Williams right behind him for 8 carries, 63 yards for a 7.9 yard average. Insane. I don't think we've seen a Packer backfield do that much damage in quite a long time. Just remarkable game on Green Bay's part towards the second and then through the end of the game. So, Jeff, you had to pick out your 3 standout players from this week's game. Who are you going with?
Well, obviously Aaron Jones. I thought he played a hell of a game. Sullivan had a couple nice plays. And then I'd probably go Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a solid game. I think they said he was averaging 10 yards a carry during the game.
Yeah, it was definitely, like I said, the big game for the Packer backfield. I mean, you got to give it to those guys, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers making the big plays when it counted. And even Coach LaFleur, making some gutsy calls. You saw a lot of 4th down conversions, and they highlighted it during the game. That's going to be a big trend this year, I think, going forward, is the key 4th down conversions and less of the punting and some of that stuff. So it's kind of like playing NFL blitz all over again, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Other highlights from the NFL today. Man, what in the hell were the Cowboys thinking?
Oh, the Falcons.
Yeah. I mean, you got Mike McCarthy down there. They were down, 13 points, 12 points, got down to 9. And then they go for an onside kick with just seconds left. And they don't touch it. There are 4 or 5 Falcon players just standing around the ball. They wait till it goes to 11 yards, and then all of a sudden they try to make a play. What are you doing? There's 4 guys. You have more than enough room to get ball in that football, end the game. You give it away in Cowboy Stadium nonetheless. And they ultimately fall to Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys.
Nice. Yeah, it was definitely something. I'm sitting there, what the hell are they doing? Not grabbing the ball, like it's right in front of them.
Yeah, they didn't practice the falling drill, I guess, this week in Atlanta. Uh,
Uh,
Matt Patricia with the Lions, obviously going back to our game for a second. You got to wonder, is his job at jeopardy? You blow 2 weeks in a row of 14 plus point leads, one being or two of them back to back crucial NFC North opponents, and not making a game of it. What do if you're Lions ownership? I mean, this guy, if you look at the record, they fired the coach prior with a 9-7 record. Matt Patricia's been way on the losing side of the streak. So you got to wonder, how much do the Lions put up with before they kind of put their foot down their throats and say, hey, man, we got to do something. Because having your team fall back to back 14-point deficit, or being up by 15, ultimately losing the game, has got to be tough for that organization.
yeah, definitely.
All right, so we are going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we are joined by a very special guest, former Packers wide receiver, Perry Kemp. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back, and we have a special guest with us today. He was formerly number 81 of your Green Bay Packers. He is Perry Kemp. Perry, thanks for joining Jeff and I today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we were talking off air a little bit about some of the NFL action already this season. How weird is it for you, being an alumni of the Packers, to see, and just try and wrap your head around what the players are dealing with this season in unparalleled times? I mean, there's never been anything like this before.
The competitive spirit is always still going to be there. However, the people in the stands, that boost is so huge, it's crazy. And I don't know how they're feeling about it right about now. It just, it's like a fish out of water. Football with no fans. I can't imagine how the guys are feeling. I know the competitive spirit, it focusing on the game or whatever, but the fans are a very important part. But these both teams are playing the same way, so it's still even.
Well, you hope for a good Packer road game this year if they get to play like San Diego or an Arizona game or something again, where it almost fills up with all Packer fans anyway. You always look forward to those games, so that's kind of nice.
Well, I think next week the Saints game, I think they have fans allowed there.
Yeah, they were one of the three teams, I think, in the whole league, or four teams are even allowing fans. The Cowboys today had about 20,000 in theirs, so it was kind of cool to see at least something being in the crowd. But definitely weird at Lambeau, like we were joking in the prior segment about, 6 yards deep of nothing but advertising. It's just such a unique, weird transition for sure. When Lambeau's usually rocking a sellout crowd for 30 plus years, and rocking back and forth. So cool to see the Lambeau Leaps. Obviously not so cool to see the Lions starting things off today with their version of a Lambeau Leap, but Carmen coming back to bit him right in the old lion ass. So that was always good.
Absolutely.
Perry, what was your pregame ritual like? Walk me through like your Friday through Sunday. How did you get ready for a game, or what was your psyche like going into it?
I'm kind of a relaxed type of guy. I'm laid back and just kind of keep to myself afterwards. We get game films every day, and the practices get lighter as the week goes on, and you just sit around and picture certain scenarios in your head all day. And what if this happens, what am I going to do? Or if this happens, what am I going to do? So you just, try to play the game out in your head. And so that you're, so when you get to the game, everything is just reactive. You don't have to think about it.
What about any type of OCD habits or anything that you had? Is there something that you absolutely had to do, game after game, or were you pretty loose with whatever happens?
No, I was pretty cool. I like I said, I was kind of laid back. I didn't really have any rituals, uh, other than not to eat a lot of breakfast, or it goes right through me.
Oh, I hear you. I
Um,
never
you got
eating before anything.
you got to play for a pretty cool coach, and it seems like reading in the bios and stuff, you had a really good relationship, and that was Lindy Infante. What was it like playing for Lindy? I mean, at what, three separate occasions I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lindy's a footballologist. He
Yeah.
studies all the technical. I mean, anything. I mean, coach is coach, but players play. But you know that man is the smartest man I've ever known in football. Every situation he has a plan for. Now it's up to the players to go out and make it happen. But he's real technical. Uh, his system was a great system. It's tough to learn, but once you know it, the game slows down for you. You see everything before even the snapping the ball.
I mean, that had to be a pretty thick playbook, knowing that the guy had so much knowledge that he brought to the game. What were some of the challenges that you had, maybe with some of the playbooks early on with him? Because I heard it was a pretty tedious playbook that he had back in the day, and obviously he only kept adding and kept adding and kept adding. The guy just never stopped.
Yeah, certain coverages. He was big on knowing the coverages, but he also taught you, certain coverage is a difference of how you're going to run your route. Like if you run a hook route or a curl route, if it's man coverage, you may come straight back to the ball. If it's zone, you may curl around into the hole, or if it's double coverage, you come right back downhill. Or sometimes if that safety's coming at you, you may make it look like you're coming back and out. So, for one play, he may have four different options. And the quarterbacks and the receivers, they got to be on the same page. Quarterback has to see what we're seeing, and vice versa. So, but he was big on knowing what the coverage was. I was personally big on, some of those coverages, combo coverages are pretty tough to figure out. But, depends on where that defender is on me is how I'm going to run the route anyway. So I'm not seeing the whole field. Pre-snap I am. If guys in the middle, he may cheat over one way or the other to give away at the last second where he's going, what the coverage is going to look like. But, he was just so great at stuff like that. It's crazy.
What
You
kind of
know,
changes did you see as a receiver from week to week? What were some of the things that you looked for? Just personally in your receiver group room, what were some things that you guys look for every single week, or what were some of the main hot points every week going into a pregame setup?
Well, depending on who you're playing, you watch different personnel, who you're playing against, what their tendencies are, whether they slip a lot or whether they give what they're going to do away. Uh, so you want to know who you're going up against. You want to know what they're going to throw at you, what their tendencies are, and who you can run by or who you have to work a little bit more at the line of scrimmage, stuff like that.
what was that? That first experience coming out on Lambeau Field and see all those fans. Like, describe us kind of how that feeling was.
Man, coming out in Lambeau Field is like football heaven. I mean, there's no greater feeling than that. I mean, it is the craziest thing I've ever seen, man. The people, everybody, man, are just phenomenal, and they love their team. They love everybody there, man, and they got your back. And they cheer from the start of the game to the end of the game. And it's some stadiums you go to, there's more other teams fans in the stands than Packers. I mean, than their team. Like you go certain cities, we chatted certain cities. I remember we played in Tampa. We used to have, when Tampa was in our division, we used to have more people in the stands than them. You know, and then after a while they stopped selling so many tickets to us because it was like a home game for us.
Well, it's
Uh,
funny you brought that up because they showed a pregame highlight today of Brett Favre showing up to the Tampa Bay game in a Tampa Bay T-shirt today.
Oh yeah.
oh my.
I got Tampa Bay, but I was like, man, Brett, what are you doing?
Shame on him.
He's repping the T-shirt for them, but you know, a lot of those guys are all pretty close. Of course, you talk about the Tom Brees, the Drew Brees, Tom Brady's. You know, a lot of those guys are pretty close, so it's cool to see that support. But at the same time, you're sitting there going, Brett, I feel like you want to wear everyone else's jersey but ours, man. Like you don't even wear a Packer T-shirt to a game anymore. I feel like it's crazy.
Bro, I would never wear their T-shirt. I don't care how good of a friend you are. I'm gonna rep my team, not your team.
Right.
Was there a team you followed when you were growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh,
Okay.
so I'm a Steeler fan. When the Steelers and the Packers played in the Super Bowl, that was a happy, sad day for me. So, no matter what team I was going to be won, I was going to be happy. No matter what team lost, I was going to be happy.
Yeah.
My great uncle was the first African American to play for the Steelers in 1933. They used to be called the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they was a semi-pro team. And it came to the NFL. Mr. Rooney brought my uncle along with him as well. His name was Ray Kemp. He's the first black to play for the Steelers, probably the second or third in the whole league. So, you know, Steeler football is in my blood, but Green Bay football is in my blood as well.
Nice.
How close did you ever come to becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler? Was there ever a shot or an opportunity for you, being that you were the local guy? Obviously, I'd be on the radar at some point.
Yeah, I worked out for him once or twice, but unfortunately it didn't work out. I would have loved to say I played for them before, but, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity that Green Bay gave me. You know, it's a great experience. I always remember it, and I always cherish those moments.
What was the biggest downside of playing in Green Bay? What was your one thing? If you could have snapped your fingers and changed something about your Green Bay experience, what would it have been?
Well, I mean, I've heard it's gotten better now, but you know, for the black guys, you know, we didn't have any barber shops, so we used to have to go down to Milwaukee. But right before I left, I talked them in and start bringing a barber up the day before the game,
Sure.
so the guys could get haircuts. We used to all have jacked up haircuts. We used to because we used to cut each other's hair. Well, actually, Johnny Holland, linebacker, used to cut most of our hair. And you look at the team pictures, all of us had jacked up hairdos. And type of food that we eat, you know, wasn't prevalent up there at the time.
Sure.
But, you know, all in all, though, we used to love playing down when we play half our home games down in Milwaukee. You know, we get a good haircut. We can get a good meal.
Sure.
Not that the other meals weren't good, but something that we grew up on.
Sure.
And, I mean, that was the only two things, but you know, that was minor.
I thought you were gonna say the weather, maybe, but I'll take it.
Well, I grew up in the Pittsburgh area. It gets kind of cold there too, so I was kind of used to it. Maybe some of the guys from the South were probably hard because of the weather, but you know, I you know, when I put that uniform on, I'm not even thinking about the weather. Matter of fact, I think we're probably warmer than the people in the stands because we had heat on the sidelines. You're out there running around, so your adrenaline is going, so your body temperature stays up a little higher. So, you know, it was all right. But I do remember one day we had practice the day before we played Detroit Lions. And the wind chill factor was 68 degrees below zero outside.
Whew.
The practice field was frozen ice. So Cindy and Fondy said, okay, let's go. We're going to go in the barn. So we go in the barn thinking we're going to get a break. He opens up every one of those big garage doors, and it's like a wind tunnel. It's even colder. The wind's blowing through there like nothing, man. And then the next day, Barry Sanders ran circles around us. He was cutting on that ice, frozen tundra like he was running on asphalt. Everybody else was sliding. That was something to remember.
That guy was hard to tackle as it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you had to pick your most memorable Green Bay moment, Harry, where would you say that lies?
I would say the instant replay. The instant replay. We won that game. He Magic threw it to Sterling Sharp. His foot was over the line, if you remember. His foot was over the line, but where he released the ball was behind the line. I mean, it was felt like 30 minutes for them doing the replay, the instant replay. Well, I think that was the greatest moment, man. That game was so awesome, and to stick it to Chicago was the best. They'll always have that nightmare.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of the most unique places, obviously, like you said, to play the game, being in Lambeau. What are some of the things that you've noticed as far as changing within the organization? Talking to some of these younger players, being a part of the alumni group that seems to come back season over season. What are some changes you notice in your era player versus, say, today's player?
I don't know. I think we stay in touch a little bit more with each other. We've been coming back along with each other for the longest. Those guys are just starting to come back. It's good to have them back. We're all family, but, the stories, I mean, I know Bart is gone, but listening to his guys tell all the stories that they have to tell that they can't tell on an interview or anything like that, you could sit there all day and you're in awe just listening to it, laughing and just completely in awe of some of the things that they were doing.
Yeah, Jerry Kramer definitely is very well known for his out of the interview context. I think we're to him a little bit.
Yeah.
Him and
Yeah.
Why am I drawing a blank now? Him and Fuzzy were always like the two that, you want a story? Come grab a beer, we'll tell you. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, they're never short on stories. I promise you that. even some of the guys in the middle, they got some stories too, like Paul Kaufman.
Okay.
And those guys, man, they got some stories.
Yeah, we're excited. We have Don Horn coming on the show in a couple weeks, and we're excited to hear what Don can tell us. So.
Oh yeah, great guy. Don is a great guy.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We're going to come right back with more from Perry Kemp. All right, guys, we are back with wide receiver Perry Kemp. Perry, let's talk about your wildest moment in Green Bay that you are allowed to tell on air.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they would be wild then.
Whose names? It's all right.
No, really, I was one of the nice guys, so I really don't have any wild moments. I'm sure I could tell some other guys' stories, but I don't think they would appreciate it. So I'm going to have to plead the fifth on that one.
Good answer.
I remember, though, I guess one practice, I don't know why, I got into a fight with Chuck Cecil.
Oh, jeez.
It's just, I don't know. I guess he was in a mood one day at practice, and I was coming off the line of scrimmage, and he just comes up and spears me and just picks the fight. I don't know why. I never said anything bad to him or anything, and to this day I still don't know why. I think maybe it has something to do with maybe what a coach told him, or he was upset about something, but. I'm the one who took the brunt on it. It was a little scuffle, nothing major, but it was right before 2-minute drill at practice. So I was tired as I don't know what for 2-minute drill.
We'll have fun. You guys can have a reunion and reconciling. How's that?
Yeah.
I
give him a hug. He needed one that day.
Playing in like County Stadium, how was it like playing like in a baseball stadium? Was that something different or?
It was a little different. You had to wear different shoes, because sometimes you're in the dirt, sometimes you're in the grass. So you got to, you're being a professional, you have to be professional about your tools, type of shoes you wear, whatever. So, I mean, it was different and it was exciting. Well, on top of that, we both teams were on the same sideline.
Oh,
Oh wow,
So
yeah.
it wasn't across the field from each other. We were on the same sideline.
that's nuts.
So it was half on one end of the sideline and the other half on the other end of the sideline.
Hmm.
So
Well,
there's a lot of back and forth going on.
yeah. Yeah.
What about your wildest fan moment? Like, what's one fan story that maybe you have, or maybe you saw something a fan do during a game that made you just scratch your head and go, "Only in Green Bay"? What would that moment be?
Oh, I've seen some people pull their shirts up before, and some of the coldest days, and they weren't all men pulling their shirts up.
Cherry picking in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. That was a good commercial break for us for about 30
Just check.
seconds. Yeah, absolutely, man. It is such a great thing to be in Lambeau Field on a game day. I mean, you can go in there when there's no stands there, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of history on this field right here.
Uh,
You know, how many Hall of Famers been on this field? Not just from other teams, but right there from Green Bay that played in Green Bay. Legends, real legends. I mean, legends. I mean, you got some Hall of Famers, but you got some Hall of Famers that are super legends. You know, some names that is everybody knows.
I mean, even look at that staff Holmgren had. How many coach went on to be coaches and good coaches? You know, that was,
Absolutely,
uh,
absolutely.
And former players too. I mean, even Doug
yeah,
Peterson, the old backup quarterback, winning a NFL championship. I mean, it says a lot about the stat line for Green Bay and what they look for, and then building that credo around the city. I mean, it's definitely one of a kind. And hearing people that just even come to visit from all over the country that obviously, Perry, you get a chance to talk to. I'm still local, and I get to a lot around interaction with the team as well. It's just crazy to hear the stories. I mean, you'll hear about people coming, "Oh, we came from Australia today because we were bored and loved the Packers." Like,
Mm-hmm.
Swiss cheese doesn't mean I'm going to go out to Switzerland tomorrow. I mean, that takes a
Right.
broad leap for that. So,
Absolutely. I mean, the Packers are known worldwide. You know, it's one of the most common names in sports. Green Bay Packers. I mean, nobody will ever top that.
so what is it about Green Bay you think that people fall in love with, Perry? Like, what is it about Green Bay that keeps you coming back year after year after year?
Green Bay is, believe it or not, to me, Green Bay is like twins of Pittsburgh. The same type of fans. They love their team. Uh, they act the same way. You know, and a lot, I watched games, and like a couple years ago, every time Pittsburgh won, Green Bay won. Every time Green Bay won, Pittsburgh won. And I'd say to myself, "Oh, please, you guys don't meet in the Super Bowl. I'm gonna take a handful of Excedrin or something."
oh,
Too fun.
that's not.
Uh, Perry, what's a story you've never told anybody about before that maybe we can share on our show? We always like getting that one news story that maybe you haven't shared before in other interviews maybe you've done before. Like, what's one that you can share with us that you haven't shared before?
Well, I don't know about any stories, but I know about situations like, how I was. A lot of people never thought that I would make it in Green Bay. Every year they used to have who's on the fence, who's on the other side of Lombardi, who's straddling the fence. And I was always on the wrong side of the fence, but every year I would be there. And every year, the guys, I wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but I had hands. I knew how to get open. I knew how to clear routes out for Sterling Sharp. I knew how to run pick plays for Sterling Sharp to get him open. But, that just, I don't think about it all the time, but, it's just that, they never gave up on me. They seen what my potential was. And I feel like I really helped the team.
Playing with Sterling Sharp, Do you believe he's a Hall of Famer?
I believe he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I believe he's a Hall of Famer. I think maybe a lot of people think because, I don't know, he didn't play long enough. I don't know. But Sterling Sharp was a beast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
That
remember
was
that.
my guy. Sterling Sharp was a beast, man. You know, he came in his rookie year, you know, he was a little unsure, because he really didn't know the plays yet. It takes a while to learn Lindy's system.
Yeah.
But they still put him in the starting, and he was nervous about that. But, I said, don't worry, man, I got you. I got you. You don't know what to do. I got you, because I probably knew, out of all the players, I probably knew the system probably better even than the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
There's been times that Lindy would signal in a play and our quarterback, whichever quarterback was in there, I'm not going to say any names, he wasn't sure about what that signal was. Or he'd get the signal, and by the time he got to the huddle, he forgot what the play was. So I knew all the signals, all the plays, and what to look for, his progression. I knew everything.
Nice.
So Sterling, he was a little nervous, but he got through it and was great from day one. Was great from day one. I was grateful for being there, to help, get him in the right place at the right time, and the rest is athletics. He could do it all. I mean, he's so strong. Trying to tackle him. One time we was I don't mean to venture off, but one time we was in the locker room and you work out with your position. So we walk in the locker room and the linebackers are on the bench working out, and we start walking by and Johnny Holland says, "Man, what y'all doing, man? Y'all little boys, y'all don't know nothing about this. Get on out here. Go on over there in the corner somewhere." Sterling Sharp jumped on the bench, put 315 on there, threw it up 3 times like it was nothing. Bench 315 like it was nothing. So Sterling was as strong, if not stronger, than some of our linebackers.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he had just a physical, that body, man. He is so big.
Oh, yeah. He's so strong, man. It's just, and if he got his hands on you, it is over.
That's what a guy that played the Badgers, I don't know if you follow the Badgers at all, Quintez Cephas. His body type kind of reminds me of Sterling Sharp a little bit. I'm not saying he's the player Sterling was, but whenever I saw him, I'm like, holy crap, kind of looks like Sharp. Just the body type.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I definitely think Sterling should be in the Hall of Fame, yes.
Yeah, nice.
So
I believe so too.
He deserves it, yes.
Rotten shame he's not in there yet.
Yeah.
what was your transition like, Perry, going from the USFL to the NFL? How big of a change was that for you?
Not much at all. The biggest change I had was going from the small Division II college that I played at, California University of Pennsylvania, to which is the same conference as John Kuhn. He played in that conference too. It's a state college in Pennsylvania. Coming from maybe 1,500 to 2,500 people in the stands. Went to Jacksonville. We played our games in the Gator Bowl in the USFL. Came out of the tunnel, 73,000 people in the stands. I had goosebumps on top of goosebumps on top of goosebumps.
I bet.
I've never experienced that before, coming out of a tunnel on the field. But, that's every day in Green Bay, every week in Green Bay, everybody in the stands, so many people, But that was my first experience. So,
right.
I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Nice.
But the transition, it wasn't that hard for me. I never looked at anybody like in awe of them. I like if it's somebody I had to play against, like if it's Deion Sanders or whoever, my mentality was this is a challenge for me. I get to show my talents against the so-called best or one of the best or whatever. And and that's the attitude that you have to have.
Yeah.
I've heard guys say, man, I have to play against this guy all day long. I didn't say anything back, but I just you're looking at it wrong. So what? Did he good? Show how good you are. I mean, I just, I was always up for a challenge. I don't care who it was against.
Nice. I think that says a lot because you look at some of the confidence levels of today's players versus, say, the players from the 60s, 70s, 80s. It seems at some point it kind of trickles into the new age athlete. I've heard a lot of the alumni refer to as. But how much did you know about Green Bay itself coming into this, Perry?
Say it one more time, please.
How much
How
did you
much?
know about Green Bay coming into your time here? Like, did you know where Green Bay was? Do you know anything about Green Bay, or was it like
No,
this out?
no. I know. When I came to Green Bay, I thought I got on the wrong plane. And the only reason why I knew I was there because you get to come in that small little airport and it says, "Welcome to Green Bay Packers." I said, "Okay, I'm here." The airport was so small, I thought, I got on the wrong plane and I was somewhere out in the woods somewhere. But little did I know, man, it's one of the greatest places I've ever been.
It's funny because
Like,
after
Love going back.
that's always the reply we get is, "I thought I was in the wrong city." Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the rest of your? I don't know. I got lost.
I mean, I'm used to small towns, but I grew up in a small town, but the airport was so small, and all I seen was woods coming there. I'm waiting to see the city. I guess I was asleep when they did the flyover because usually they come over past Lambeau Field or whatever.
Sure.
But when I got off the plane, that was something. Oh, and I came in on one of them little crop dusters. They didn't have the big planes coming in back then.
Oh, jeez.
oh man.
Yeah, they didn't have the big planes back then.
Wow.
Nice. Is there
That's
a
crazy.
local establishment around Green Bay that you guys always kind of went to and hung out around?
Oh yeah, the guys used to hang out. After a game, we would probably go to this place called Lothario's. It's closed now. It's a little club. They played our kind of music. It was a fun place to be. But usually on Mondays, we used to come in, watch film, lift a little weights, and jog a little bit to get the kinks out. And then after that, we would go to Red Lobster
Okay.
right there by the stadium every Monday.
Nice.
So those are the two places that we frequent most.
Nice.
That was
That's still
the one
around.
that was interesting was Red Lobster. I always thought that was weird that always came up.
Yeah, we used to all go over there and sit at the bar, eat, and have a couple drinks.
Were you a big Kroll's guy yet, or was Kroll's not around yet? I'm trying to think of when Kroll's
I think
officially.
it was around.
I think it was around. Yeah, I wasn't a big Crows guy though. I didn't venture out a whole lot. I was, probably to myself a lot more than anything.
Sure.
I'd go home after practice and I'm dog tired. I'd just crash unless
Yeah.
I had something specific to go do. And
Nice.
they didn't have PlayStation games back then or whatever. Just you go home, man, and once you hit the house, that's a wrap.
I've been kind of lucky with that PlayStation thing or whatever. My son, all he wants to do is go outside, go outside, go outside, which is great. I love that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be trapped in a house watching TV and,
Yeah.
get out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Kids in our days, everything was outside.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not careful, you have to push the kids to go outside.
Yeah. That's what we used to go to in summer every single day. We go play baseball at Perkins Park in Green Bay, and every day we'd be there. My mom, well, they're at Perkins probably. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, remember in our day when you used to come home when the lights weren't on yet? You had to drink
Oh,
a hose. You couldn't have bottled water. What the heck was that? Bottled water. All right, Timmy, you're picked last. Now everybody, it's so weird. Even been in our 30s, talking about back in my day, but you find it that way though. There's life before. I mean, if you can imagine Perry playing in your time frame with social media, how does that change? I mean, we've heard a lot of the guys that'll joke off camera about, man, if they had around the 90s when a certain quarterback was around, might.
Oh, there would be a lot of us in trouble, man. There would be a lot of us in trouble. Thank God. God has blessed us not to get in trouble, man. But I'm sure with social media, it would have changed some things up.
Definitely.
With social media comes opportunity for people to say or do anything, to blame you for anything. I mean, it was kind of tough then. I remember Tim Harris got in trouble got in an argument with his wife. There was no physical whatever, but even his wife said no, no, no. Then the police told him he couldn't go home for a day. He wasn't allowed to go home.
Wow,
So just think if it was social media,
oh yeah,
he would have never been able to go home.
jeez.
But just look at the drafts. Like I mean, like the Michael Orrs and whatever, and who was the other guy? Tunzel. They go back and find your history, and they see some bad stuff, and you're gonna drop in a draft because of something that happened how many years ago?
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. I think you really have to sit down and get to know a guy. If you want to draft him, sit down and get to know him, because people change. People make mistakes in their lives.
Definitely.
People do a lot of good things too that you never even heard about.
Yep.
So it just I would imagine that they're doing their homework on the most part. Sometimes it's about taking a chance on the guy.
Yeah.
Okay, you messed up in the past, but where you at now? Are you okay? Are we gonna have to worry about that if we draft you? Are you gonna be on this team, or are you gonna be in trouble all the time, or in negative news all the time?
That's kind of like Des Bryant right now. That guy can't find a job to save his butt, and he keeps working out and trying to get people to try him out. I mean, he's had a couple tryouts. It's just nobody wants to sign him. I think he's still probably a pretty good athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, New Orleans took a chance on him, but he got hurt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was a wrap. Yeah, I guess they didn't want to give him another chance for whatever reason. I think that he's good enough to be in the league somewhere.
Oh, I think so,
I
too.
honestly do. Mm-hmm.
Harry, if you back talking about receivers and opportunities, there's a big rumor that Brett Favre was fighting and standing up on the table for a well-known player in Green Bay history named Randy Moss. If you're the coach at that point, do you take a chance on Moss, listen to your quarterback, and say, "Hey, this dude's a game changer," or do you agree with the Packers' decision not to make that happen?
I would have if I would have had the opportunity to get Randy Moss, and I knew that he was going to work out for us, he would have been on our team. I mean, a lot of times, it's not always your talent that gets you on the team. It's your personality. It's a whole lot to take account for. But I would have liked to see him there. But that's not how Green Bay is cut. We don't bring those big name guys in like that. We bring in guys that people are not sure about, and they turn out to be great. And that's how they save money. This is a business. It's a business for the NFL. It's a business for the owners. It's a business for the players now. Players are finally starting to realize it. Because your career, you could be here one day and gone the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because we talked to a lot of the players from 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's weird how even just agencies have changed focus. You look at talking to players now with contracts. Well, if I do anything, my agent automatically gets 20%. Well, if you set up your own event, why is your agent getting paid? Well, they have to do a bunch of stuff in the background. I mean, it's crazy to think of, a guy that used to only get 5%, now all of a sudden is getting 20 because of all this extra work they got to do. Some of these guys weren't making much. You talk to some of the guys from, like you said, the Lombardi days, $12,000-$15,000. They thought that was like amazing. Now it's like, man, that's a fine.
Yeah.
The comparison level of it, it's just insane, unfortunately. But it's good to see the NFL starting to step up more and more. And JC, a former Packer, is starting to do really well as the NFLPA president, trying to step up for our alumni in the NFL to get some opportunities for you guys, which I think is awesome.
Absolutely, and it takes that. I think the NFL gets it. They want to do as much as they can, but of course, they're not in the spending business either. They're trying. They want to be frugal and save some money too. But I think their hearts are for the guys. They want to do the right thing, but they just want to give a little bit at a time.
Definitely.
So your stance, Perry, we're going to hit a little tougher subject. Your stance right now with the league and the team's stances lately with the social justice movement, do you think there's enough being done? Do you still think there's a lot of room for improvement? What's your thought process? I mean, the Packers staying in the locker room 2 weeks in a row has caught some controversy. What is your kind of belief on that with everything going on?
I just think that they gave we're fortunate enough to be in a situation where our names matter and people listen to us. Because if we wasn't playing football, nobody would listen to us. So I think all of us have. I think all of us have the need to be able to give back. To be a voice for people who don't have that voice. But I just think that it's all about voting, because laws don't get changed unless Congress changes the laws.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to push Congress to change the laws. Everybody's not going to be happy about, no matter what you do, everybody's not going to be happy how you do it. But if you don't push, you don't get nowhere.
Definitely.
You don't get nowhere if you don't push. If I don't push myself to play football, if I don't push myself to work out, I don't get to play football. So if I want social change, I have to push. I have to push it to the edge. I want every American to be happy. It's a great country. Everybody should be happy. Mistakes are going to happen, but I just don't think that you should be really upset. Just for somebody kneeling or protesting peacefully, there's no need to get upset for that.
No, definitely.
They're not hurting anybody. They're just trying to get laws changed. If you don't push for it, you're not getting it. And that's the way it is.
That's kind of been my thought too. The people that are, I'm going to sell all my Packer gear. I'm going to sell my tickets. Great, moves me up on the list. Let's go.
Right. There it is. That's right.
You get an opportunity to do it. None of these guys are out there burning the flag. None of these guys are out there leading marches that are burning down buildings. Like you said, they're taking their opportunity to, stand up for their beliefs. They're taking to their social media and all that. It's like, you don't like it, don't follow it. Don't breathe it. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot to, they don't go on the news reading every single player's Twitter feed. You as the fan are seriously going to that site to look at it. You don't like it, don't read it. It's that simple. Unfollow a guy. It takes 2 seconds. Are they going to cry? Are they going to hurt? There's a meme that's been going around. I think I shared it on our Facebook page. Says, the league's going to have to file for bankruptcy because one fan named Tommy now all of a sudden hates the league. It's different when, Joe Blow, nobody's ever heard of, that shovels crap, lives in his grandma's basements doing something. But like you said, when you have a player that has that opportunity with that voice, and it sucks, and I hate to say this, but, you get that one Karen of the group that jumps out and says, wow, that black man shouldn't say anything. It's like, lady, you have no idea where he's come from. Like, you don't understand, some of the opportunities that have been taken away, or some of the things that have happened in some of these communities. And it's not to say Karen hasn't had any issues either, but it's a night and day ball game. I would never put myself in the same boat saying, well, me and my people, like, screw that. Like, I'm not even ever going to try and put myself in that capacity. It's a shame when, people are going to say, well, you sat with him or you believed with him. Like, are we going back to the, remember the Titans days? You can't go bus because there's too many of those people. Like, shut up, Tom. Like, whatever. They don't care if they're winning bets off you. They don't care if they're spending money on you at the casino. But all of a sudden, you say one thing they don't agree with, and they're going to leave. Like, I don't know. especially a town like Green Bay. And I've had some interesting conversations off air with a lot of different players and families, and learning more and more about some things that have happened off the field in Green Bay. It's really surprising being the community we're in, because we're so overshadowed by football itself, and people here are so spoiled in the fact that we've had some really great teams for a while. You know, you've had two back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Teams won't ever have one in their history. They won't ever have a trophy in their showcase. I mean, hell, Green Bay has a 40-foot tall statue just hanging out. You know, and then you get people that are going to weigh in on this, going, "Well, they should just play football." Like, look, if Green Bay didn't have football, we don't exist. I mean, there's places shutting down left and right. If you can imagine Green Bay, like you said, you blink and miss it already being here. And if there wasn't even the airport, like, what does Green Bay have? So it's really alarming to me when people in Green Bay want to take that stance of, well, screw the Packers. Screw the Packers. You don't have a job. Your company's not making that product. You're not, you know what I mean? There's not the big sports bar that you like going to because it's great and it's whatever. You know, you don't get that brand new arena from the tax revenue that was left over. You don't get a lot of these charities being funded by that stadium revenue that kicks in too. So it's just alarming when people only see the one bad thing. They don't see all the economic downfall from that. And I think this year being without fans, there's definitely going to be some of that repercussions. I mean, being able to walk around in Lambeau yesterday, I had an interview for a school project I'm doing, and being able to sit down with Coach Williams and go, you know, it's weird. You know, back in your days when they had the Big Ten Stadium, you weren't there on a game day. There was no night before. It was like, all right, let's all go to the bar, get hammered. All right, we'll see you at the game tomorrow if we wake up in time. That was it. Now you're sitting there being able to have a meeting, have a wedding inside Lambeau Field, which is, again, regards one of the best stadiums in the world. But here you have these idiots trying to ruin it for everybody else, going, wow, screw the Packers. Well, do you really? You've never gone to a free event sponsored by the Packers. You've never gone into the atrium. You've never been to a wedding there. You've never been to a fundraiser there. You never checked out the Pro Shop, which I think is honestly one of the best in the game right now. It's just really, really a sad time. So I'm glad we got to ask you about some of that and shed some more light, because, yeah, I definitely think there's not enough of a voice yet. And I'm glad our show kind of gives the opportunity for guys like yourself to do so. So anytime, we'll definitely get you on there and let you say what you need to say, because I think that's important too.
Absolutely. You know, and just, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, they're not trying to disrespect the flag. They're not trying to disrespect the national anthem. They're just trying to bring awareness. We love our country. We're here. We have, this is a land of opportunity. We love our country. We're here. We just wanted to be treated fairly. You know, nobody's trying to disrespect anybody or the flag. Nobody, not one person, not even trying to disrespect the police. We're trying to just get the weed out the bad police. Most of them are good, but there's a few out there that don't care about people's lives, or, you know, they get that adrenaline going and they're ready, you know. And I don't know how you do that, you know. More training, better hiring. I don't know. I mean, probably all of that. But, you know, I mean, these guys love doing what they're doing. They love being able to give back. You know, these guys, you get mad at them. You know how much they do for the community. You know, the charities they start up, the charities they give back to. Even the Packers, they give to so many charities in Green Bay and Wisconsin. I mean, it's crazy. So now all of a sudden you hate them. So you want them to stop being able to do for people. I mean, you know, if you don't stand up for your employees or the people like them, I mean, even, you know, whether you're black or white, if you get shot in the back, it's wrong.
Yep.
And everybody's life does matter. It's just that right now we're trying to focus on our life because it seems like our lives are the ones that are not being respected. So yeah, all lives matter. But we want you to see that Black lives matter too. And, you know, everybody's welcome to have their own opinion about it, but we can be civil. We don't have to talk nasty about everybody. We can be civil about it. What's that say about you if you're bad mouthing this person or that person for something they're doing that's perfectly legal, that's perfectly within an American's rights, I mean, what does that say about you? You know, you need to look in the mirror. You know, I don't like to judge people, but, you know, before you start spouting off about somebody else and what they stand for or what they're trying to get accomplished or what they're doing that's not illegal, you know, you ought to look in the mirror and search your own thoughts and do some self-searching about yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you said it best there. I mean, what is it about it? Why would you be offended by someone else standing up for their beliefs? You know, you're doing the same exact thing in the same breath. So why is it any different for you to be okay to do it, you know, but not the other person? Why should you get to tell someone you should lose your job because you said something I don't agree with? If that were the case, there'd be a whole lot of people for some cell phone providers I used to have that are losing jobs because they don't discount I earned on my bill. You know, they'll charge me in a month. I didn't get my credit back. I didn't sit there and say you need to lose your job and you need to burn in hell. You know, like it's just stupid. I don't understand where the concept or where the rights some people think they get with that. Like who died and made them governor of the world? It just makes no sense. There's definitely some people that add fuel to the fire, but like you said, at the end of the day, man, you read the Bible, it's like we all got to get along. We're all made from one cloth. We're all from Adam and Eve. Whatever your belief system is, you know, whatever it may be, or however you may believe. But at the end of the day, we all got to be able to live around each other, man. There's no need for all the extra talk. Like I said, all it takes is one unfollow button. Block yourself from it. So distract yourself with the happiness. It's so sad to see all these people that are just butthurt every day going, oh, this sucks, that sucks, that sucks. Find something you enjoy. Look at cute puppies all day long. My gosh, YouTube has millions of videos per minute being uploaded. You can find a damn cute puppy, Nancy. Settle down. You'll be all right. Like, relax. So, yeah, man, just disturbing when you look at some of that stuff. So it's unfortunate. You know, I've heard a lot of the alumni too are even getting targeted on some of this stuff. Like, why? What are you going to go back to a player 30 years ago who said, "Man, that guy was out of line." Now, listen, you want to go back 30 years and rip a guy apart for one thing he said that doesn't even equate to it?
Mm-hmm.
Stupid, man. I just don't understand it. So, but let's get back to the fun subjects, Perry. Biggest crap talker you ever played against as a DB?
I don't know. I've heard. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody talking crap to me. I've heard. I've heard some receivers talk some crap to some DBs.
Okay.
You know, I know Sterling Sharp. He can talk stuff on some people. Of course, you know probably what's his name from San Francisco. He talks stuff.
Jerry Rice.
No, not Jerry Rice. He's a nice guy. He's a Boy Scout. He just catches touchdown passes against you.
Yeah, I know. But he fumbled once and didn't count.
Oh yeah, his first year he had a tough first year. You know, he was dropping a lot of balls, and then next thing you know, he was catching everything and taking it to the house.
Yeah.
But you know, we had a now one of our defensive linemen, Tim Harris. He's the biggest smash talker that I ever heard. All day long, I mean, the whole game. He'd be betting him. Hey man, I bet you I'm coming around you this time. I'm coming through you this time. He'd be telling him what he's gonna do to him.
Oh,
Tim Harris, man, that dude, man, he didn't look like it, but that dude could play. You know, he had some issues, but that dude right there, he could play.
what about your biggest prankster on the team?
Prankster, probably.
Looks like there's a few candidates.
Yeah, because our locker room was our locker room was crazy. Like some guy, I don't remember who did it. We came in one day, we had a top 10 ugly player list. They posted on the wall.
Who was number one?
I don't want to say. He was a receiver, but he was a great guy. He was really funny, man. He'd come in with a different funny act almost every day. But we had some moments in that locker room.
Nice.
Definitely had some moments in that locker room. Just some of it, you know, is I don't remember a whole lot, but there was a lot of crazy moments that they just they will be they don't don't do something out in the streets and let the guys find out about it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's a wrap because everybody in the locker room is going to be riding you for the rest of the day.
Especially today, there's no secrets. You don't get to,
Yes.
somebody
Yeah.
else somewhere is always going to have a phone on them. So
Oh yeah. We always found out anyway because people back then people couldn't keep secrets. So it got back to the locker room. You could just be ready to take an ear beating all day.
all right, let's see. One more good one. What about most memorable road trip game for you?
Um, we played Chicago once. We flew down there, and it was 73 degrees, unseasonably warm, the uh, the day before the game. Woke up the next morning, it was a blizzard. Open up the window, it was a blizzard. It it went from 73 degrees to a blizzard outside.
Wow.
We won the game the next day, but I'm not going to tell you what player, but he said, "Hey PK, I think I'm gonna have a good day." The night before, I think I'm gonna have a good day today, man. I feel like I'm gonna really get it. And next morning, he opened up that window blind. Hey, dog, I don't think I feel so well.
Nice.
and he wasn't on the team very long after that, but he was a great athlete.
Jeez.
I mean, he could have really helped us, but I mean that was crazy to me. We didn't do much out while we were out of town anyway because we didn't have much time. So you get there the day before the game, go to our rooms, then we have meetings, and then we have a dinner together. Everybody has to be there, and then you have curfew. So the next morning you get up, you have team breakfast, and then you got to be at the airport. I mean, be at the stadium. The bus leaves 2.5 to 3 hours before the game starts. You have to be at the stadium by 2 hours before the game. So you don't really have time to do anything in another city.
Nice.
So, it was pretty tight. You didn't really have time. You got a little time to spend with family if you have family in that town or whatever. So, I would always try to find a family member, whether I knew or I didn't know. I'd call my mom all the time and ask her, well, who do we have lives here? And I try to reach out to different family that I didn't even know or whatever. But that was kind of my routine.
That's cool.
Well, you always got family here with me, Perry. I'll come to a game with you anytime, my friend.
Absolutely, my man. I got you.
Perfect. So let's wrap up here with you, Perry. Any final thoughts for your Green Bay fans following along with the podcast here?
Oh, I think this is a great show, man. I wish I'd known about it before. You got to catch me on text, man. That Messenger, I might be on there, but I'm not on there. I don't see all the. I got so many messages from people that I don't know. I've been cursed out before.
Oh, jeez.
By a Packer fan, because, and he never said why, but he really ripped into me, and I really ripped into him back and then blocked him, so he never got a chance to come back at me. But I felt bad. I figured why was probably I didn't accept his friend fast enough.
Oh,
I mean, I have so many, and I'm at the limit, so I may have to turn it into a fan page or something. But I
can help you.
I have so many still waiting to get accepted, and I probably just didn't even see it. I'm not that type of guy that would just ignore you or didn't want to accept you unless I had something against you. But
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I try to get along with everybody. I like everybody until you give me a reason not to.
Exactly.
Well, there you go, Packer fans. Perry Kemp and I will be working on his fan page soon. We'll get it up and running.
Oh man.
Mike. If not, send your message to Perry Kemp right to Scotty Sports Show. We'll help you out.
My man, appreciate you.
So that was Perry Kemp, former Packer wide receiver, joining us today. Perry, want to thank you very, very much for helping us out.
Thanks, sir.
True friend of the show.
Time to come. Thanks for having me, guys, man. It's been a pleasure, man. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wondering where we got our cool mugs and thermoses? Look no further than our pals over at Just the Three of Us. Hey guys, looking for new apparel for your next big event? Check out our friends over at Stenciled, our official apparel provider for the Scotty Sports Show. All right, guys, so that was, again, former Packer wide receiver Perry Kemp. Jeff, awesome guy as always. I mean, I think we've been pretty lucky so far to get some really awesome guys to join us here on the show and give back to the fans and share some stories they might not often share, even if they don't have names included.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, he's a pretty down-to-earth guy, and, I mean, didn't really want to throw anybody under the bus, which is a good thing. Obviously, he was a pretty good teammate to all Packers.
Yeah, I think me and him got connected through social media or through one of the other players. Man, it had to be about, when did social media start? I think like 6-7 years ago, just by accident. Yeah, he's always been awesome. Anytime I need anything for the kids or myself. And yeah, pretty rare that you find someone that cool and that down to earth. And like you said, very, very humble.
Loyal.
Yeah, he did. He definitely, like I said, takes care of his own. And how about that? Reaching out to unknown family members just to say, hey, what's up, man? I just want to get to know you. Like, I think that's the best part about that whole takeaway, I think, for me was like, man, you don't hear that ever. You hear about the guys that are trounced down by people claiming to be family and they won't take that risk. And here's Perry going, I want to find out who I'm related to this week.
Yeah.
Definitely something I wish I could have done in my younger days. Now I think I'm like one of the younger people left in all of our families. So
nice.
Interesting. Just want to pass along a couple sad notes this week. Starting with the obviously passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away on Friday. Definitely a sad day. Obviously, we talk about social justice movement, and a woman that was definitely a inspiration to many people in this country. So thoughts go out to them as well as the Wisconsin Badgers. We were just talking off air here about almost every Badger player I think I follow through our social media channels has posted about the passing of Father Mike, who passed away today, it looks like. Don't know what the exact reason is, but again, thoughts go out to all of our Badger connections that we have.
Definitely.
A rough weekend as far as people passing along and things going on in this world. But again, you talk about two people that definitely made a inspiration on others. You don't see a lot of that stuff. I've never, in all my years, seen a football team talk about like their pastor, their father, kind of figure passing away. So it says a lot about that Badger organization, how close they really are, and it says something a lot about our great state of Wisconsin, where we get to do so much, and they really appreciate the small things. Talking to Perry before the show started about what it's like to be in Green Bay and the fact that everyone just treats you so well for the most part. And that's just who they are. Like, I'll get you a beer, I'll fix your car, the Al Harris story, I think it was a couple years ago, where he got stuck in Minnesota, put out on social media, hey, who can give me a ride back to Green Bay, much to the coach's despair. But sure enough, they brought him all the way back to the field so he could not miss the game, took him through a tour, gave him some tickets, and hooked him up with some gear. I mean, it just says a lot about the Wisconsin lifestyle here, man. It's pretty awesome. I don't think people realize how lucky we are. And even when it comes to the social justice issues. So it's going to be a topic that we're going to talk about for a long time to come. So hopefully no one takes offense to it, but we got to look out for each other, man. We only get one life,
Definitely.
So speaking of upcoming guests and crazy stories, next week we have Derek Holmes, former Packers and Buffalo Bills running back, coming in. Pretty interesting story about, his son Darnay is playing for the Bills right now, or the right now. And a story that came out about Derek Holmes later on in life about being shot to death over a drug deal gone bad. So we're going to touch on that and much, much more. Obviously, it's his season here in Green Bay as well. But looking forward to that interview as well. Again, getting some never before told stories from some of these guys. I was definitely a big Derek Holmes guy during his time in Buffalo, man. One of the most powerful running backs I can remember from our day. So it'll be cool to chat with him some more. And then being a dad ourselves, Jeff, you and I can only hope for our sons that they get the success and they get to carry on their big dreams. So it'll be nice to talk to Derek about the lighter side of things, being a dad and what it's like for him to see his kids go through UCLA and then on to the NFL. So
Sounds good. Yes.
well, perfect. Well, the Packers won this weekend. Badgers are getting ready to start again. If you didn't hear and been living underneath a rock, our beloved Wisconsin Badgers are coming back to play some football at the end of the October. So definitely excited for that. Hopefully we can get some coverage of some of those guys before they get rolling too deep. But, we're definitely excited, man. Football is back in Wisconsin, hopefully for a long time to come.
Very, very hopeful.
Right? Well,
Sundays and Saturdays aren't the same without it.
definitely not. It's been a good breath of fresh air and getting even that 3-hour break to breathe away from all the COVID-19 issues and all the drama and all that stuff. It's nice to finally be able to just relax and immerse yourself within a game that, we've loved since birth. So
Definitely.
all right, everybody. So thanks again for joining the Scotty Sports Show. I'm your host, MD Lovelace.
Jeff Bryce.
Till next week, take it easy and we'll see you then.
Thank you.